Thanks for joining us on this edition of the City Council web blog. Council met in session Monday, October 17th at 5:30 in council chambers. Kind of a short meeting overall, but we had some very important items on the agenda. First on the agenda, we had an Austin Homes initiative. This was our second home we had that's the housing tax abatement for any new single-family or multifamily home. Scott Fox had an application put through. This would provide 5 years of tax abatement for the new homes. As you know, we enacted that recently, so our second one's come through. They'd have abatement of $11,255 of taxes over the 5-year period. The estimated value of the home is $450,000 to $500,000. So that'll be a nice addition to the community. Council approved that without objection. Our next item on the agenda was a public hearing for a small cities development program. Basically, we have to wrap up the program and do a public hearing both at the start and conclusion of the program. Unfortunately, we didn't get a lot of interest in the program. We did 7 homes. I think they had roughly about $700,000 available for the program, and handed out about $300,000. They did, this was handled through our HRA. They did letters, targeted letters to folks in that area, as well as some door-to-door solicitations, but for various reasons didn't get interest in the program. Some of them were disqualified because of the income limitations, basically made too much in income. You had to be an owner-occupied property, some rentals in that area, as well as I guess there were several properties that were contract for deed, and those are not eligible either. So basically concluded the public hearing as far as the small cities development program was concerned. We also moved on to the rec center, community rec center, bright light for the community moving forward, passed on a 5-2 vote. This is basically a new version of the lease agreement. Came back before the city council. This time we had the YMCA approved the new lease agreement first, but basically stepped back and took a different approach to how we had done it before. Before we were, the lease had a lot of provisions on accessing the Y portions, the public accessing those portions, different hours that would be available, as well as what fees would be charged, limited on the day passes and those sorts of things in the aquatic center. We shifted gears a little bit on that, and the previous agreement had $200,000 of city obligation to the Y for those public portions of the rec center. In this fashion, we've come back and we still have the $100,000 for the youth activity center and the children's play area that the YMCA will staff on an ongoing basis, but also has an expectation that we'd establish a $100,000 scholarship program that we'd have to buy down membership costs for based on income thresholds for Austin residents. So we did it in a way that didn't threaten, at least the Y's perception of how it would threaten their membership, at least potentially. So we moved away from that, and that got Y approval, and because we looked at it from a different fashion, City Council was agreeable to that as well. That project will look to move forward. They have to do the $5 million public campaign for that, the YMCA and Vision 2020. So that'll need to take place. We'll also need to do a design of the building that we've talked about, and a needs assessment. So those items can begin to move forward, as well as clearing the site for the new recreation center of the former power plant here in the downtown. Moving on, we also adopted an ordinance and publication for administrative penalties for administrative fines, rather than doing the criminal procedure on different nuisance issues, weed, mowing of grass, those types of things. Adopting a procedure that would allow administrative citation would make the process a lot less cumbersome, a lot less regimented as far as steps you have to take and those sorts of things that were part of the criminal process of our current ordinances. So this should help us dramatically in lowering the bureaucracy of the steps we have to go through from the city to compel folks to comply with the different provisions we have for weed or fire code violations or those types of things, and putting it in an administrative citation form. So council approved that. That's something we've done a lot of work on to try to improve the quality of life in neighborhoods and that sort of thing throughout the community. We had a lot of discussion related to liquor sales. The city of Austin has different provisions that we can be more restrictive than the state. And in 2 instances we did that that are notable. We restrict alcohol and liquor sales from 8 p.m. Monday through Thursday. State statutes allows us to go to 10 p.m. That ordinance change council approved unanimously. So liquor stores have the option now, starting January 1st, of being open till 10 p.m. rather than 8 p.m. Monday through Thursday with that change. But the 3-2 liquor sales that would be allowed in convenience stores, council turned that away on a 4-3 vote, with the mayor breaking the tie and voting no on that topic. So 3-2 beer will not be allowed in convenience stores, as was one of the considerations. That is allowed by state statutes, but will remain the same here in Austin. A lot of concern with the impacts of smaller off-sale establishments, I think, was one of the issues, and then just having liquor be more prevalent in the community was a concern raised by several council members. We had accepted some donations. We had a project at the municipal airport related to pavement rehabilitation, and then also review of the Turtle Creek flood mitigation area. We had preliminary analysis done by one engineering firm. We want to make sure that we get that right, and we thought it prudent to have SEH take a look at the same equation to see if there's other ways that we could trim some of the costs. The proposals by the first engineering firm were very costly, so we want to make sure before we proceed forward that the costs are as reasonable as possible, and the assumptions that they're building into the equation are, I guess, the best to work off of. So we don't have any arbitrary costs, so council approved that contract with SEH. We had a hazardous structure at 601 10th Avenue Southwest, and a few removal of junk and refuse at 2 properties in the Southwest. We also had closeout of a wastewater treatment plant. Our excess flow capacity at our wastewater plant, it was a $2.8 million project. We had a change order that roughly about $40-some thousand we had to accommodate, so council approved that project and closes out the wastewater treatment plant project. Other than that, that's what we had from the council meeting. If you have any questions on this or any other items, please don't hesitate to give me a call, 437-9941. We always like hearing from you. If you have any questions, comments, and the like, please let us know. Thanks so much.